Enough of negative in the world, and when you see this and you see what a group of people from the town coming together with their ideas and their thoughts and wanting to preserve a part of our town, this is what they do, and they do it fantastically.
Well, this is just absolutely gorgeous compared to what's been here in the history of this site. We've got the canal being cleaned up over here. We've got a great park, a great place for everybody to come and meet. They're going to have a great concert this afternoon. This is phenomenal. But it's taken a lot of vision and a lot of work with a lot of people. But it shows that you can get things done.
Look at the difference. Look at what it was before and what it's become. And you know, it signifies South Grafton and how South Grafton has come a long way. And I mean, every part of town is beautiful. So is South Grafton. This is another asset for the whole town.
Went a year ago, April, we had groundbreaking, and we took a dump and made it into a beautiful park for the Tree Mill villages, Farnersville, Fisherville, and Saundersville. And it's here. It's going to be here for the people. If they want to have weddings here, they can have weddings here. Want to have concerts. This is what we did.
Not long ago, where I'm standing used to be debris, trash, and trailer trucks. But thanks to the right group of people coming together at the right time, it is now the Mill Villages Park. Hello, I'm Bill Robidoux. Join me as on this program we go for a nice tour of the park. We'll also talk with some of the people who are influential in the building and the vision of this park. We're also going to take a look at an innovative way that they're cleaning up the Blackstone River, as well as, yes, the ribbon cutting and the grand opening of this park. So come join me as we take a walk through the Mill Villages Park. I am here with Stephen Bishop, the town planner. And Steve, right now, what is your thoughts? Here we are at the ribbon cutting ceremony today. Everything that was put on paper is now willed into reality. Your thoughts?
It's a pretty amazing day when you consider the fact that after the fire in '99 and for really over the last 10 or 12 years that this has been a dumping ground. It's been a point of almost to the level of despair for a lot of people down here that never thought that they would see any kind of redevelopment down here. And I think it's really a testament to the efforts of a lot of people in town, especially the people in the communities of South Grafton, to pull this whole thing together. It's been a pleasure working with them, and I think that if you do able to have the opportunity to look around, you'll see that this is just really a gem for the town of Grafton. And I think one of the great aspects of it is that it's a great passive area, but it can be used for formal events. We have the pavilion back there. We have all of the infrastructure that you would need to be able to do it. Yeah. And as I said, I think that this is really incredible. I stand down here myself and look around and say, I can't believe this. I can't believe that actually we were able to pull this thing off.
Owned by the Historical Society right now, and we're bringing it back to South Grafton. That's why they brought it back down here.
And why did it leave South Grafton?
Well, it was brought up to Grafton Center and stayed up there for a while, and then we decided we wanted it back in South Grafton, so we asked for it, and we got it.
And now that it's here, what's the significance of it being right here? Was this bank, where was it originally located?
Across the street, up about 2 houses up on the opposite side of the road.
And what was the name of this bank at that time? Do you remember?
I don't quite remember what the name is. It's a savings bank. I know it was a savings bank, but I don't quite remember what the name of it was.
Was this one of the first banks in this area?
Oh, yeah. It was like a branch. It was a branch bank of the bank in Grafton Center at the time. And they just put it down here so they could collect the money down here.
Right. Did you ever bank at this bank yourself?
Oh, yes.
You had an accountant here.
Well, we had these Christmas club books, and we used to put the money in there. Everybody in the family would have the books for Christmas clubs. That's when the mills ran here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. The mill was.
So most of this bank would be housed to a lot of the mill workers here.
sure.
Accounts
Anybody-
would be in here.
Sure.
Yeah.
They would save their money for the Christmas clubs.
Right.
Yeah. In the bank here. Yeah. When it was across the street.
Now, and what was it when you first stood here at this barren part here and said, you know, this would be a good place to have a park here? Why right here?
Actually, I can't take credit for that. I think that there had been previous efforts. There was the South Grafton Villages master plan that had conceptually looked at this area as potentially a public space.
Right.
So it was really looking at that. I think we were very fortunate in terms of having a partner in Gene Burnett, who owns the property, to be able to work cooperatively with us to be able to make this land available, so that we could actually pursue that dream. And as I said, it came out of a long planning process. It just seems that the stars aligned perfectly for this. We had funding for the zoning designation across the street. We had obviously were able to avail ourselves of community preservation funds. So I think it was something that has happened, just like the weather today.
Right.
You know, you look at rain yesterday, sunshine today. As I said, it's been magical.
Right behind us, I mean, I call this cutting edge.
Yeah, it is.
Can you and can you just expound on that? Why? I mean, I don't know why but it is. And just
We're about to get a tour, but the idea is that the contaminants are actually treated by natural systems or plant systems here for removal, which is kind of the cutting edge of what we're trying to do with remediating sites around the country, certainly in New England, but this is a great example of that. I'm going to get a tour to learn more, but I'm very excited to be here to see it.
Gene?
Well, you know, what we're showing here is part of a vision that was also created back at that time. The concept of making the treatment works on old industrial infrastructure part of an attraction is a key component of this. So as much as there's novel science here, there's also novel kind of social science at work, trying to expose people to how biology works to, you know, clean up a contaminated environment. So what you have is a system that was really invented by nature millions of years ago, and we're employing it in an engineered system at this site. So all the contaminants that are being pulled from the river are being used as food by the organisms in the system that are housed in the greenhouse. So as a food source, they cause the organisms to grow. That's why you'll see these wonderful plant platforms. There's also a floating plant mat restorer in the canal that's doing the same thing. It's taking contaminants out of the water, processing them into basic, simple molecules and turning it into plant material.
Now, is this something that's you can go to many parks and you'll see this, or is this really something unique right here?
Unique, I think, is right. You know, unique means there's only one. There's probably other efforts like this where we use plants to try to remove contaminants, but the point is this is very special. The idea we're doing it in a wet environment, in a river, very, very different. So I know you won't see this anywhere else. This is what he's just described, what he's described is something that makes this very different, and I think something to be very proud of.
If you look down the canal, there's a large set of plastic pipes and manifolds that are actually set in the sediment of the canal, and they're pulling the sediment and contaminated water out of the canal and pumping it into the eco machine for to be treated through cells that are in that unit, and they're all bioreactors. There is the technical term. And the bioreactors contain complex ecologies that have all 5 kingdoms of life in them.
in the Eco Machine. So this is always, and the idea is when we're done with the mycelia there, we're going to apply it here and try and start a mycelial community so that it will have in situ treatment as well as the sort of chemostat effect from the greenhouse as well.
What's really unique about this process that hasn't been done anywhere else that we know of, in the country, is the use of higher fungi to treat the hydrocarbons in the water that's here. What we're actually trying to use, though, is not the mushroom itself, it's the vegetative part of the mushroom, in which is the what's called the mycelia, which are thread-like structures that the organism puts out to digest its environment. And you can see in each one of these, you'll see a different state of growth. Now, like here, this white fuzz that you see is the actual single cells thread-like structure of the mycelia penetrating and consuming the wood that is a food source. Well, to do that, they excrete an enzyme that digests the wood. They want to strip away the lignin to get to the cellulose where the sugars are, so that they can grow and make the mushroom. And that's what we're trying to harvest. So the water coming out of the canal is being flushed through this system. And in theory, what we're doing is collecting the enzymes and collecting them in a manifold below these reactors. And these are basically small reactors. And they're collected down in a sump at the end of this treatment train.
Sump right here, and we can tell by the low pHs, and that is one indicator. We can't tell for certain that we're getting a pretty good between the thermophilic action in the reactors and the low pHs here. It's indicative of the presence of enzymes. Also, we're seeing the nitrate and ammonia and phosphorus almost disappearing. I don't know if I can get this up or not, but the plant roots are starting to come through, which are the big surface area for the bacteria that break down the nitrates and phosphorus.
Well, basically, I would just say that all of us have worked very hard down here in the south end to improve it. We've seen a lot of ugliness and decay through the years, and after the demise of the mills, we felt that we were going to try to work hard in the last 10 years to see if we could beautify things and improve it. And this park is also to honor all of the immigrants that came here from Canada and from Poland and all the other countries who worked in the mills. And once we put the park bench program in, we had about 25 to 30 requests for benches. They were expensive. We did purchase 14 of them. But this means a lot to all of the folks down here in South Grafton. But I would just tell the citizens in town that it isn't just for South Grafton. Right. This is Grafton's Park.
Right.
We want people to use this park from all over the town. And we invite people to come down here and enjoy this. And we hope that we'll have a good number of nice functions down here, and family functions, and things that'll really bring a lot of pride to the community and to the area.
You know, Skip, in a world full of talk, and there's always a lot of talk, to see an action like this become complete, it's amazing. It really, I mean, I'm not used to that. And are you, when you go, whoa, wow, this is done.
Well, it's a cooperative effort between town officials, private citizens. I can honestly say that the Community Preservation Committee has done a tremendous amount. Steve Bishop and Ann Morgan up at Planning, Mr. McInerney, our town administrator, and the Board of Selectmen.
Takes a lot of wills here to get something like this done.
You don't do these things on your own. You try to propel these things to improve. I see that a lot of the things that happen in Grafton and some of the positive things are propelled and pushed by people in the private sector that have the support of the community and its leaders.
American flag flies above residential porches, campsites, small businesses, corporate offices, hospitals, schools, military and naval bases, government buildings, and nonprofit organizations. The American flag is the most displayed and recognized banner in the world. The flag serves as a constant reminder to all of us that we live in a country where our freedom has been deeply purchased. The veteran who salutes the flag, who serves under the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Philip Lesperance. Back in January of 2010, the Board of Selectmen approved the Farnhamville-Fisherville Streetscape Committee. I don't think anybody at that point, whether it was the board themselves, the board members of other boards, the zoning board, the planning board, the townspeople, the people on the committee itself, I'm not sure we really ever realized that this would actually be happening. That would be standing here with a pavilion, a 2-acre park, the Blackstone River on one side, part of the historic Blackstone Canal on the other side, getting ready for a live performance. Well, the park was the main focus of the Streetscape Committee. It's just part of a larger vision. Revitalization of the entire area, including the redevelopment of the Fisherville Mill. That's the whole picture. The park is just the first glimpse of hope towards brightening that area that has long been neglected, as well as enhancing the historic resources we have, such as the river and the canal. If ever there was a poster child for a brownfield site, this is it. The transformation of a piece of polluted land to a place where people can come enjoy the area's beauty and history. Soon there will be access to the river for canoes and kayaks. We look forward to events in this park, farmers markets, and many more live performances. This park has rekindled the pride of South Grafton. We believe the creation of the Mill Villages Park has also energized people to explore their heritage and make it relevant. The Blackstone River and the Blackstone Canal powered the mills that transformed Grafton and the entire Blackstone Valley into the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. These are the same mills that are part of your heritage. Many of you here today had family members that worked in these mills, lived in these villages, and depended on them for their livelihood. South Grafton, Mill Villages, Saundersville, Fisherville, Farnhamsville, The very same villages for which the park is named represent an important part of that history. Unfortunately, the Blackstone River and the surrounding area have suffered from industrial misuse. The canal remains intact only in small areas, and the welcoming, compact mill villages have lost their character and charm. Fortunately, in recent years, there's been renewed interest in that history, leading to the revitalization of the mill villages. The Mill Villages Park is just the first step in the ongoing streetscape program slated for a segment of roadway that runs from the library at the top of the hill all the way down to Depot Street. Now that the first phase has become a reality, we can look ahead and know that the future of the area looks brighter with each passing day. This project has been a true partnership at every level to bring home the promise of a bright future. Without these partnerships, the vision would not have become a reality. I'd like to take a few minutes to acknowledge the partners that made this possible. First, we'd like to extend our thanks to the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, especially the Central Regional Office, and in particular, Deputy Regional Director Mary Gardner, and also Paul Vigent, who served as the on-site project manager as well as the overseer in the canal dredging. The United States Environmental Protection Agency for funding the canal dredging project. The town of Grafton, citizens, board members, all of you, and this park is for you. A special thanks to Community Preservation for providing us with $375,000 in preservation funds to help make this possible. Especially thank you to John Stevens for his guidance to us through that process. And one of our own Streetscape Committee members, Bruce Spinney, who came up with the idea of approaching community preservation for those funds. The John H. Chaffee Blackstone Valley Heritage Corridor Commission has been instrumental in focusing attention to this part of the Blackstone Valley. A special thank you to Ranger Chuck Arning, ever present at our monthly meetings and an invaluable source of knowledge regarding the Blackstone River, canals, and villages. He has been our link between the past, present, and the future of the area. And thank you to the director of the Heritage Corridor Commission, Jan Reitzma, and Donya Williams for their continued support. The Grafton Lion Club for their support in a generous donation from the proceeds of last year's golf tournament. A special thanks to Mike Ponting and John Rama for making that possible. The outpouring of support from 5 private donors, many of which are here today, has been overwhelming. When we decided to sell park benches, we never dreamed we would have more donors than benches. So what did we do? We created more benches. The Grafton Historical Society graciously returned Grafton Savings Bank to its home in South Grafton. It now stands proudly at the entrance of the park. Speaking of banks, Sayers Banks has provided the Historical Society with funding for repairs, preservation, and landscaping around the bank. The Grafton Suburban Credit Union has provided the committee with the funds to purchase the sign that will stand at the entrance. A very, very special thank you to the founder of the credit union, Mr. Charlie Bolak, and Mr. Ed Lopes. We also need to recognize the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Highway Division. They're responsible for painting the Cross Street Bridge. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but it sure does look great. And also for providing the lighting that will be installed on the bridge. Last, but certainly not least, the members of the Farnhamsville-Fisherville Streetscape Committee, who have worked tirelessly to make this vision a reality. Chairman, Mr. Phil Gauthier. Myself, Teresa McNevich. Mr. Chet Lysick. Susan Boudiette. Mr. Tim Gruppy. Skip McNevich. Bruce Spinney. And Walter Wayner. I would also like to say thank you in advance to each and every one of our speakers who have championed this project in every aspect, mainly historic preservation, environmental cleanup, and economic revitalization. Our first speaker is the Region 1 Administrator with the United States Environmental Protection Agency. The U.S. EPA provided $1 million in funds for the dredging project that has been managed by the Mass DEP. They also provided $671,000 in demonstration grant funds for the butane injection progress at the mill site across the street and the living machine project housed in the greenhouse here in the park. The EPA has been instrumental in making the site vital and useful again. It is a pleasure to introduce the Region 1 Administrator, Mr. Kurt Spalding.
Thank you, Teresa. And it's not a bad day for this, huh? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm very pleased to be here. Some of you may know I have some strong ties to this watershed, and you know, Blackstone is part of the Greater Narragansett Bay watershed. It's something I worked years and years on. I'm very pleased to be here to see this come to fruition. It's incredibly exciting. I have a few words. Just about everybody's been recognized, so I'm not going to do that again, but I do want to just mention my good friends Donna and Jan, who brought me to a meeting about a year and a couple of months ago when the money was being threatened by congressional rescission, which is a nice way of saying they wanted their money back because it hadn't been spent yet. So as the story goes, we had to do some calls and do some special work in our financial system to make sure this money stayed in place. I'm sure glad we did, because it's a beautiful day to be here. Now, EPA has partnered with the town of Grafton and Mass DEP to work on cleaning up the site across the street. The partnership is working to clean one of the largest existing sections of this historic canal. It's very, very important to us. It'll improve the water quality of the Blackstone River. After all, that's what EPA is in the business to do. And of course, it adds to what is one of our American heritage rivers. And I must tell you, it would not be American Heritage River except for the leadership of some very important people. And I mentioned Senator John Chafee as one of them, a man who cared so much about this river during his lifetime and made it a passion of his. The town of Grafton has done a tremendous job coordinating the funding for the cleanup from 3 different EPA sources. First, EPA provided $671,000 from our water quality restoration program to the town of Grafton to help reduce the historic petroleum contamination in the groundwater in the canal. The work that's come out of this grant has been especially innovative. What you see over there is, and someone asked me on camera today, is this unique? I think you can proudly say no one is trying to do this anywhere else in the country. Bring a living approach to cleaning up our river. It's tremendously innovative. The installation and the use of this living machine, or I think it's called an ecological machine, is an excellent example of a community working together with a forward-thinking developer seeking alternative solutions to addressing challenging river restoration projects. And I can tell you, as the regional administrator, I get to see a lot of challenging river restoration projects, and I'm very excited to see how this one works out. This low-impact environmental solution will contribute to the sustainability of the cleanup and the overall health from the river from now on, and serve as a demonstration pilot for the region. Second, as I said in the beginning of this partnership, EPA has awarded over $3 million in stimulus funding to Mass DEP. Mass DEP then awarded $1 million to those funds to the Fisherville Mill site to install petroleum contamination containment structures to control and limit the contamination, especially oil contamination of the canal. It's a lot of words that talks about people working together to clean up an important resource. Finally, we awarded $1 million brownfield assessment grant to Mass DEP, and then Mass DEP committed $200,000 to the town of Grafton for additional assessment to the Fisher Mill project. This work is to be completed this summer. So I am very proud to be here in partnership with all that were mentioned earlier, cleaning up this whole area of Grafton. The park we are celebrating today is a tremendous accomplishment. This is fantastic. It's going to be there. Someone asked me earlier, what do you feel when you see something like this? I hope you all feel the sense of generational commitment you've all made to the children of Grafton, as well as to all of us who are here today. The work will be a connecting force to the river that we all care so much about, and in the long run, the watershed of Narragansett Bay that we all care so much about. So I want to congratulate everyone who had the vision to make this happen. These things just don't pop out of thin air. It takes people sitting down, getting creative, and collaborating. And I close with this one point. There's a lot of noise in Washington right now, a lot of fighting going on, a lot of people yelling past each other. Here in New England, we're not doing that. We're collaborating. We're getting things done. It's going to be our advantage as we look into a healthy, more sustainable future, communities that are great for employment, great for living, great for our community health. So again, I congratulate you all. Very pleased to be here, and I'm sure glad we had the money to make a difference here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Spalding. Senator Mike Moore has been a supporter of the Streetscape project since its inception. He has been instrumental in securing state funding as well as the 40R incentive grant. He sees the opportunity for economic development and continues to promote the revitalization of the area. His office assisted the committee in working with the Mass Department of Transportation Highway to get the bridge painted and to secure the lighting. His office has been represented at most of the monthly meetings, and we thank you for that ongoing support and interest. Please welcome Senator Mike Moore.
Good afternoon. What a great day it is today, isn't it? It is beautiful. I tell you, it's an honor to be here today as we officially open the Mill Village Parks. This beautiful, family-friendly park is the culmination of a state, federal, municipal, and community partnership. This is an example of how government and communities are supposed to work together. This is a community-wide effort to not only pay homage to Grafton's rich cultural and industrial history, but also make the most of the town's scenic and inviting open space. In light of some of the challenges this area has seen, particularly the Fisherville Mill fire, this park is a welcome breath of fresh air, and the families and the children of South Grafton and throughout the town shall enjoy it. What makes this project even more wonderful is the hard work by the local municipal officials and as well as the local residents, brought together with a single vision. I'd like to single out Town Planner Steve Bishop, and also the Streetscape Committee for their tireless work to see this project from the start to the finish. You know, as elected officials, we can talk about partnerships and working together, but it's only when we see the culmination of a project like this come to its completion and brought back to the citizens for their enjoyment that we can truly say, this is how government works, this is what being a public servant is about, this is what the community is about, and I thank you all for being here, thank you all for working with your local officials, and your representatives on the committee in successfully completing this project. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this for years to come.
Thank you, Senator Moore. Representative George Peterson has a personal interest in what goes on in Grafton. As a lifelong resident, there is a steadfast sense of support for all Grafton's interests. Representative Peterson has supported this project from the start. The canoe launch will become a reality through the work and dedication of Representative Peterson. We thank you, George, for advancing important issues for the town of Grafton. Our very own Representative George Peterson.
Thank you, Teresa. What a great afternoon. As they say, all good things come to those who wait. We've waited long enough. And we're here today to cut the ribbon to enjoy this park. But all good things come to those who work, who have vision, and who can work together to get something completed in its total. I'm proud to stand here with all the other people that have had a connection to this park, from those that worked on the park, from those that had the vision to see this before the design came out. And I know it's going to be a success. The Blackstone River Valley is coming back to life. And one of those earliest signs that you can see is the wildlife that comes back. While we were sitting there just before it started, I was watching an osprey fishing the pond, which is now restored back there. That means there are more fish and enough fish to be able to have that osprey breed and live in this community. And I dare say that within a couple of years, you'll see a couple of bald eagles on the Blackstone River as well. Because we are doing the right thing here today, in the future, as we clean up the Blackstone River. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being part of this great success story.
Thank you, George. The Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection has been an invaluable partner in this project. A major aspect of the development of this park has been the environmental cleanup of this site. This task would not have been possible without the strong working relationship with the Mass DEP. They worked in cooperation with the town to efficiently use our finances. They also worked with the town to secure coalition funding for testing and securing the $1 million grant funding through the EPA, and then oversaw the management of the project. Their work included the cleanup of a significant part of the historical Blackstone Canal. They have worked cooperatively in expediting the installation of innovative technologies, the most visible, the greenhouse, known as the Living Machine. I am honored to introduce Commissioner Kenneth Kimmel.
Good afternoon. What an honor to be here today, and how fitting it is that we're here on Flag Day. That flag is a symbol of how the federal government and the state governments are supposed to cooperate with one another, and that's exactly what happened to bring this project to its completion. And also, that flag was born when America consisted of small towns with village greens where people actually interacted with one another. They didn't have cell phones and laptops, but they came to village greens to be with one another and interact. And that's what you're doing here today with this wonderful new park. So it's just a perfect day to be here to celebrate this. Grafton, like a lot of towns in Central Mass, is proud of its heritage as being part of the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution, and that's a proud legacy. But it's a mixed legacy because with that comes a lot of properties that have a legacy of contamination. And so one of the key challenges we face is to clean up those properties and get them ready for other uses, like parks and economic development. And Lieutenant Governor Murray conceived in 2008 of a brownfield support team that would take complicated projects and make sure that all the state, federal, local, private sector, nonprofit sector would all get together and work to overcome obstacles to get these projects cleaned up. And his vision basically was that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and that if you can get all the people who matter in the same boat rowing in the same direction, we won't drown in the complexity of getting these projects cleaned up. And that's, I'm glad that this site was a Brownfield Support Team project, and I honor the vision of the governor and the lieutenant governor to conceive of this way of getting things done. So a lot of credit goes to them. And I also want to thank Senator Moore and Representative Peterson for their support in the legislature to make sure that our agency and others are adequately funded to get these type of projects done. So we are very pleased to have been part of this great success, and I'd like to identify a few people from my team who helped make this happen, and maybe I'll ask them to raise their hands and we can applaud them all collectively. Leah Dillard Adams, who is serving as a Deputy Regional Director, and she's serving as the Regional Director. Mary Gardner, Diane Bellevue, George Gardner, Jay Naparstik, Eric Arbidon, and I especially want to thank Paul Vigent and Pat Hurley for their work. I'm told that Paul basically moved his office out here so that he could help make sure this got done. So it is great to have such wonderful, competent people working. The Central Region gets things done, and not just here, but in many other places. So I acknowledge the hard work of everyone on my team and thank them for their work. So most of all, have a good time tonight. Thank you for allowing DEP to be part of this success story, and I look forward to getting the site on the other side of the street cleaned up and economically developed, hopefully soon. Thank you.
In 2003, many of the people in this community got together at the behest of Donna Williams and Jan Reitzma and other people in the Park Service. That work was funded by EPA originally, and we got into a room with members of the community, and we started to talk about what they would like to see here. And we hadn't even purchased the property yet, but we were determined to go forward if we felt there was vocal support in the community. And in that meeting, in one night, we cobbled together a consensus and a vision that has been enduring. I mean, 2003 to now, to finally see something in the ground that was penciled out and by a designer in a room with a bunch of people, giving their ideas freely and being very vocal about it. And some, I think we wanted to have the whole thing be a park. We just couldn't see how that was going to be economically feasible. But having this park be done is a fantastic testament to the commitment of the community. This vision is becoming a reality with the opening of this park and the Eco Machine. You all have so much to be proud of. You've worked tirelessly on this. You've created a space where art, science, culture, and the community meet, where educational opportunities, public events, and the enjoyment of nature can complement each other. The Eco Machine, which is housed right over here that we've talked about, in the parking lot, and extending into the canal in the form of a floating island, provides a living classroom exemplifying how we can use complex ecosystems evolved over millions of years to clean up a degraded environment. Students from elementary school through doctoral level can explore topics of study here that have real-world relevance and that will inform and enhance their educational experience throughout their lives. This system uses polluted water and sediments from the canal as food sources for all 5 kingdoms of life, cultivated and engineered structures that you see here. By using a complex biology of native organisms, it's able to transform the raw waters of the Blackstone River, which we all know aren't so nice, to near drinking quality water standards. It also serves as an inoculation point to reintroduce healthy organisms back into the external environment that are better adapted to consuming the waste present in the waterway. This park is the tangible outcome of a joint commitment we made in 2003 to what we may not have known, helped us to stay focused on our cleanup efforts and facilitated our work at every opportunity. He was an invaluable resource and is sorely missed. This project has been and continues to be the most positive work I've ever done. I hope to continue the work with all of you to see our vision completed. I hope you all enjoy the product of all your hard work. You really deserve it.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. The Board of Selectmen have endorsed and supported the project from its inception. They have embraced the vision contained in the South Grafton Master Plan and were instrumental in securing the 40R funds targeted for the Farnhamsville-Fisherville project. For their continued support and commitment, thank you. Representing the Board of Selectmen, Chairman David Ross.
Thank you, and thank you for everybody coming tonight. We actually have a bigger turnout here than we do at town meeting. Maybe that speaks to some of our priorities, but I think this is a great thing for the town of Grafton. I grew up in town. I remember wearing my Finn's Pharmacy Little League uniform to play games at Ferry Street, and we would come down Cross Street and down this road. And this was a dirt lot with a bunch of big holes filled with water from 3 days ago when it rained. Maybe a tractor trailer here, a couple old couches. I don't know where we're gonna get rid of those now. And I remember what I was doing the day the mill burned down, as most of us who lived in town at that time remember where we were. And I think we all had some mixed emotions as to what happened. It was a piece of our history, what was going to happen to this parcel. It was vacant at the time. And there were a lot of questions as to what we were gonna do down here as the years went by. And a lot of people had these grand envisions. When I was on the finance committee in 2007, when we talked about putting a 40R district down here, and Mr. Burnett came in with all these wonderful drawings, and I was like, that old dirt lot with a bunch of big holes in it, okay, it sounds like a nice idea, we'll vote for it. And then we came forward and Mr. Burnett said he was gonna gift this land to the town. No cost to us, you just need to build a park sometime in the future. We said, that's nice. We're never gonna have any money to build a park. And then people got together and they came up with creative ways to be able to finance this park. And I think it speaks to everybody that we used all kinds of outside money to pay for this park. There is none of our general operating money went into paying for this park. And I think that's very impressive. And we should be proud of everybody who came up with those ways to do something this wonderful, being very creative and not putting any additional burden on the taxpayers. The Board of Selectmen have supported this from the earliest inclinations. And I think the key word there is we've supported this. We really haven't done a whole lot ourselves. There's been a ton of work done by the people of South Grafton, all the different volunteers that have put time in, members of our staff, members from the federal government, the state government agencies. But it's been a truly collaborative effort that people got involved in civic government, got involved in their local community, and said, we have a great idea on how to make an improvement to our neighborhood, something that will give back. And we found a way to do it that does not cost anybody anything. So I think that's a wonderful template, and hopefully we can take this and all the great momentum we're generating here and do it in other parts of town. So please, everybody, enjoy this park, and let's see how we can take this and replicate this somewhere else in town. Thank you.
I don't know about you folks, but I think if town meeting was held outside and served hot dogs, that could possibly increase. The Farnhamsville-Fisherville Streetscape Committee has been working for 2 years, but no one has worked harder than our chairman committee, Phil Garthia. Phil keeps saying this is a dream come true for him. He's lived in this area his whole life, and he's seen it change over the years, not necessarily for the better. His passion for South Grafton never wavers and does what he needs to do to preserve its beauty and its history. And along with that, he always has a story about the area, the history, and or the people. Phil has been instrumental in saving several historic buildings from destruction. Farnhamsville Firehouse, the Community House, and now he has helped make this come to reality. No one has a stronger sense of community than Phil. I would like to introduce the heart and soul of the Mill Villages Park Project, Chairman Phil Gauthier.
We're going to thank a few people here. Our general contractor, for instance, Mr. Tatro, Dennis Tatro and his son Jay, they're over here. They did a super job, believe me. And Jeff Fazer, VHB project manager, and Stephen Dadarian, VHB landscape architects. They're here somewhere. I thought I'd seen them right over there. And they come up with the plan for this place, taking a dump and make it into a park. Now we got the little bank over here. In 1938, a lot of us went around here by 1938, a fellow by the name of Wilfred Larrabee and his son Kenneth built that bank. It was right up the road, right on the other side of the thrift shop, across from Collette Motors. It stayed there through the World War II and into the late 50s. Then it got moved to the Grafton Center up by the post office. On a Monday night, that bank would be open and the people would come down here and pay their Christmas club. Everybody that worked in the mill, they couldn't go everywhere because the war was going on. And they'd come down on a Monday night and they paid their Christmas club and put their savings in here. And it's got moved back down here. And before the night's over, please go inside and see what's in there, because we have a fella by the Mr. Duchesne who made 3 models of the mills, believe me. Fisherville Mill, Waskenaut Mill, and the Saunders Mill. And you gotta look at it. This man did a super job. I wouldn't have the patience as what he had, believe me. And also I gotta thank Highway Superintendent Dave Kraus for helping us out here today, getting the signs up, and one heck of a job. And also I got the director of the cemetery and parks, Phil Johnson, who is going to take care of the grounds here for us. And we got to give him a great thanks. And I don't know, the park is here. We got Steve Bishop. I don't know where he is. He's hiding somewhere. And his associate, Ann Morgan, I'll tell you, they deserve a great hand of applause. And you notice on the program, I don't know, the invitation you got in the mail, the cherry blossoms. You know, not only Washington, D.C. got cherry trees, we got them out here too. You got to see it in the spring. And Ann Morgan took the picture of that and get that on a beautiful. And you know, I said, why are we going to Washington to see cherry blossoms? We can come right here to South Grafton and see them. And I got to pay special thanks to Philip Lesbranch for the national anthem. And also I want to thank the Grafton Suburban Credit Union for helping us with a nice donation so we can put our sign up. It's going to go right over here at the end, and that'll be up before, I don't know, we got to decide what we want next, but other than that, we're going to have a sign there, and it's going to be Mill Villages Park, Farnersville, Fisherville, and Saundersville.
Nice.
And we're also working on a memorial around the flagpoles, and there'll be more coming on that. And we hope to have that done by November 11th, Armistice Day. So, okay, everybody?
Okay.
Glad to see you here, and we're not done. Everybody ready? Yes. Beautiful.
It's been over 2 years in the making, from the inception of the idea to the finding the funding to getting the construction done, and now we're actually here. We've got a lawn, we've got
You can feel it now.
we've got the American flag, we've got the Grafton flag, the Massachusetts flag, we even got a bank.
God bless. Huh?
So yeah, it's turned out really good, and the pavilion.
This park goes to show you that with the right type of people getting together with the vision, anything can happen. And here it is, dreams willed into a reality. And now that it's open and ready for you, please come on down. Enjoy this park. Enjoy all that it has to offer. Well, I'm Bill Robidoux, and thank you for watching.